Yeah, we're just waiting on him to join, inshallah, and then we can start.
I'm going to YouTube now.
Do you want me to share the slide after the dua? Or you have the slide for the Maulana speech?
I should have.
You should have it open. Okay.
Yeah. I can put it on and then I have to go pray.
Okay, inshallah. Yeah, you don't want the YouTube running because it'll create a loop. I think it's. Yeah, you can even kill this window. It's already live.
Kill it?
Yeah, you can close this and share the dua Kumail slide.
Assalamu alaikum. Go ahead, Alita. Ali.
Do you have his contact number, Aga? Do you want to call him?
Yeah, I have his number.
Okay.
Next, I can read the too. So if you have any issues in time.
Yeah, he was scheduled, but if he can't, then inshallah we'll use something. I think. Walaikum salam, Abid.
Is it Ali?
No, this is Brother Abid.
Oh, okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
I'm calling. Ringing. Walaikum assalam. Ali, we're waiting on you. Inshallah. Inshallah. I'll tell him 3 minutes. Thank you. He said I need 2 minutes. Assalamu alaikum. Assalam.
Alaikum assalam, Brother Ali. How are you? Can you hear us okay? I can't hear him.
I don't either.
Yeah, maybe his connection's not good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
You can hear us okay? You're breaking up. We can't hear you if you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you guys.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you now, but you broke up after last time. We can hear you now. Are you ready, Ahmad?
Just let me know when you want me to start.
Yeah, I think we're ready to go. If you're ready, inshallah, we can start.
Inshallah. All right. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآله محمد. اللهم إني أدعوك كما أمرتني فاستجب لي كما وعدتني إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك العصام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إله نفسك، وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك، وأن توزعني شكرك، وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع، أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا، وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته، وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك، وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك، وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك، ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوب غافرا ولا لقبائح ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك. ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي، وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته، وكم من فادح من البلاء يقلته، وكم من عثار وقيته، وكم من مكروه دفعته، وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم عظم بلائي وأفرطه بي سوء حالي، وقصرت بي أعمالي، وقعدت بي أغلالي، وحبسني عن نفعي بعد أمالي، وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بخيانتها. ومثالي يا سيدي، فأسألك بعزتك أن لا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي، ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري، ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعله وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في الأحوال كلها رؤوفا، وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا، إلهي وربي من لغيرك أسأله كشف ضره والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم احترس فيه من تزيين عدوي فغرني بما هوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعض حدودك وخالفت بعض أوامرك فلك الحجة علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاءك والزمني حكمك وبلاؤك وقد آتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصير وإسرافه على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مؤذنا معترفا لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه فيه أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في ساعة من رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شده وضاقي. يا ربي ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي. يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي هبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذب بنارك بعد توحيد وبعد من طوى عليه قلبي من معرفته ولهج به لساني من ذكرك واعتقده ضميري من حبك يا الله. وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيت أو تبعد من أدنيت أو تشرد من آويت أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقا وبشكرك مادحا وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محقق وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارح سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعا، وأشارت باستغفارك مذعناها ما هكذا الظن بك ولا أخبرناها بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا ربي، وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكثور يسير بقاؤه قصير مدته، فكيف احتمال لبلاء الآخرة وجميل وقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي يا سيدي، فكيف بي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستقيم يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكوه ولما منها أضجه وأبكيه، لأليه من العذاب وشدتي أم لطول البلاء ومدته، فلئن سيرتني للعقوبات مع دائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهلي بلاء وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي، صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك، فهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك، أم كيف أسكن في النار، أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجاء عفوه، فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآمنين ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية آمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفتي وضاق طعم عذابها بمعصيتي وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرتي وهو يضج إليك ضجيجا مؤملا لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفا أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقا أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا ربا أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عفه منها فتتركه فيها هيهات ما ذلك الظن به ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك فباليقين يقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحدين وقضيت به من إخلاد معاندين لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلام وما كانت لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين وأن تجل ثناؤك كنت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررت وكل جهل عملت كتمته أو أعلنت أخفيته أو أظهرت وكل سيئة أمرت بإفداءاتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك أخفيت وبفضلك سترت وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلت أو إحسان تفضل أو بر تنشر أو رزق تبسط أو ذنب تغفر أو خطأ تستر يا ربي يا ربي يا يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك ربي يا من بيده ناصيتي يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب أسألك بحقك وقدسك وعظم صفاتك واسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي في الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورا وبخدمتك موصولا وأعمالي عندك مقبولة يا الله حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي يا نقوي على خدمتك جوارحي واجدد على العزيمة جوانحي وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك حتى أصرح إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في المبادرين وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين وأخافك مخافة الموقنين وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد اللهم ومن أراد المؤمنين والمؤمنات بسوء فأرد اللهم ومن أراد شيعة علي أمير المؤمنين بسوء فأرد يا الله ومن كادني فكيه واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك وأقربهم منزلة منك وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك. وجدني بجودك واعطف علي بمجدك واحفظني واحفظني برحمتك واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك وقلبي بحبك متيم يا الله. ومن علي بحسن إجابتك وأقل عثرتي واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك وأمرتهم بدعائك وضمنت لهم الإجابة. فإليك يا ربي فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني مناي ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي. واكفني شر الجن والإنس من عدائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من عدائي يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء. يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء، إلهي بحق لا إله إلا أنت يا الله. إلهي بمحمد وآل محمد، إلهي بفاطمة وأبيها وبالها وبنيها والسر المستوضع فيها يا الله. إلهي بمريض كربلاء زين العابدين، اللهم عاف وشافي جميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات يا مجيب الدعوات يا قاضي الحاجات وطاعته غنى. ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء وسلاحه البكاء يا سابغ النعم يا دافع النقام يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أرواح أمواتنا وأموات الحاضرين. Brothers and sisters, for all our مرحومين والشهداء من مات على الإيمان رحم الله من قرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة.
بسم الله الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم. جزاك الله. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Before I invite Dr. Farid Muswi to the member, there is a request for another Surah Fatiha, please, for Sayyida Zahida Zaidi, who is the wife of Maulana Sayyid Abid Bargrami. She passed away in India. So request for Surah Fatiha, please. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل الله أحد الله الصمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab. Are you online?
Assalamu alaikum, yes.
وعليكم السلام.
Ahsan. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-anbiya wal-mursaleen. Abul Qasim Mustafa Muhammad wa ala alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. Wa la'natullahi ala a'da'ihim ajma'in. Tonight we remember the destruction, the demolition of the Baqi cemetery, and we will talk a little bit about the significance of cemeteries in our culture and in our religion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on so many verses of Quran, shows the importance to respect the grave of the dead. The concept of the destruction of the Baqi cemetery and Mecca cemetery and all the structures that has to do with history of Islam, it was decided recently, by recently I mean less than 100 years, by elements that is above and beyond our discussion for tonight. Foreign people influencing and creating a new school of thoughts for their own benefits. They got together with a tribe that was known to be brutal, and they created what you see today. And unfortunately, they are labeling the entire Islam as them. Tonight is not about opening up that part of it. The contributing factors for demolition of Baqi. What happens is, if it were not for people like us, the plan was and still is to wipe out anything that may lead one person or two person or 3% to realize what happened in the beginning of Islam. Where did Islam come from, and what did it do with the first few years and the first 100 years of Islam? The plan is to deprive us of our history. And everybody knows, if a nation does not have history, it will stand to be destroyed. And that's the ultimate goal. And they are artfully doing it in the hand of so-called Muslims. They are destroying Islam in the hand of so-called Muslims. If you go to any country, doesn't matter which one, Japan, Mongolia, anywhere, they are funding special budgets to make sure they can find a piece of artifact, a relic, that shows that these people on this land have a history. These people on this land have come and have influenced this area. They try to deprive us, in the name of Islam, history of Islam. And if it were not for very brave people who gave their lives to make sure that nobody forgets 8 of Shawwal in early 1900s, we would have not, or Muslims in general, would have not remembered what had happened. When they came first to destroy Baqis cemetery, the representative of Sayyid Burujerdi was there. He went and met with Qazi al-Qudat, the Supreme Justice of Medina, and asked them the permission to put some stones around the graves of 4 Imams. Some sign that Imam Sajjad, Imam Hassan, Imam Baqir, Imam Sadiq are buried there. I talked about the detailed conversation about it last year. The day after this meeting, that Sayyid, whose full name was Sayyid Ahmad Al Ahmad, mysteriously was killed, poisoned. And he was buried in Baqi without any sign. But he managed, before his death, sending the letter to Ayatollah Burujerdi. Because at that time, you have to put the context. There is no internet, there is no live news, there is no, something happens in one part of the world. It takes weeks before it is telegrammed to another place and people do, so it was very slow communication. So it was, by the time the news of the destruction got to Iraq, Iran, Pakistan, India, it was months after what had happened. Months after. These people did not even tolerate Sunnis who were against the destruction. Not to just make sure that we have clear distinction between the Wahhabisms and the Sunnis. The first opposition to their actions came from high caliber Sunni scholars. Letters are now in our hands that was written to them from Sunni scholars. What are you doing? Where did in Quran say this? Why are you destroying our history? In one of the letters, when you read it, you can't help but tears comes down to your eyes, because this Sunni scholar is asking them, Abu Jubayr is asking them, Qazi al-Qudat of the Wahhabis, asking them, Aren't you afraid of God? Aren't you having haya from Rasulullah that you have ordered the destruction of home of Khadijah, which is Mahd al-Wahy, which is the place, the cradle of Wahy, and you have ordered not only the destruction, but constructing Baytul Khala, meaning bathrooms, not for the washings, for the other act of the bathroom. In the house of Khadijah, how can you call yourself Muslim when you destroy everything there is about Islam? In that letter, he writes, who is Hanbali, for God's sake. He follows Ahmad Hanbali. He's a scholar, has nothing to do with Shia. He says, aren't you ashamed of your followers who they came to the grave of the mother of Rasulullah, Amina bint Wahab. They destroyed the structure, the dome, the qubba that was on it, meaning that they're even for the family of Rasulullah, they were shrines. Your followers not only destroyed the structure, they put gasoline on the grave, set it on fire. And after the fire died out, they start beating on their drums and dancing like crazy on the grave. When they heard that the people who were caregivers, where they lived, they hunted them down and killed them one by one. Yeah, they had people who were the caregivers of these shrines. Their crimes went all the way to the city of Ta'if. Ta'if has never been a Shia area, and it still is not. Even at that time, they were followers of Maliki. They were Maliki Sunni. They killed breastfeeding babies. Dhabahu. They beheaded that baby in the arms, fi sadr in the arms of that baby's mother. The mother was holding the baby to her chest. They beheaded the baby and took the mother as a bounty. Statutory rape in the name of Islam. The criminal behavior, killing the babies and the men and taking the woman is in their blood. And that's what you see their followers right now are doing. Bin Baz, which was Qadi al-Ghullar, he gave a fatwa, not only they need to be killed, but those people who believe earth is round. Earth is not flat, and the sun is not moving around the earth, but earth is moving around the earth. If they make tawbah, okay. If they don't make tawbah of this belief, you have to kill them. Mahdur al-dam. You are dealing with thugs that have no idea about basic humanity and science and knowledge. And they call themselves the true Muslim. If you want to convert to Wahhabism, the first thing you have to say is Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. And then you have to say this, another testimony, another shahada, that you were born kafir, your parents were kafir, and all the Muslims before you on this earth were kafir. What is left of Islam then? Where does it say that you cannot pray next to the grave? One of our trips, and a scholar from their side, I asked, where do you come up with this idea that you cannot pray next to the grave? So, haven't you read Quran? I said, maybe I haven't read what you think of. Quran says very clearly to Rasul, لا تقم على قبره. Do not stand next to a qabr. ولا تصل على أحد. And do not go and say prayer or pray next to the qabr. This is Quran. And I agree, this is Quran, of course. And I'm going to get to it, how I explained it. I said, do you want to have a conversation about Quran and qabr, or you just want to have one-way conversation and you say whatever you believe and you leave? I will engage in only and only if you also sit down and listen. He said, no, I don't want to have a conversation. Conversation with you people is prohibited. He left. Okay. 15, 20 minutes later, he came back and said, okay, I know this is sacrilegion, but I will listen. If you only speak from Quran. I said, okay. Not your Quran. He said, our Quran. I said, Na'udhu billah. Your Quran is different than my Quran. Astaghfirullah. Okay, bring your Quran. He just grabbed the Quran from the shelf. He opened it. He sat down. He said, Bismillah. First of all, do you believe that Ashab al-Kahf were good people or bad people? Quran says, Allah hadaynahum. Allah had guided them. They were good people. They were so good that even a dog that was associated with them will go to heaven. That's how good they were. And these people, when they were discovered 100 years later, you remember the story, they decided to return to the cave and ask Allah to separate them from these people. They did not want to stay. But at the time they reappeared out from the cave, the town that they escaped from were already in Christianity, in their religion at that time. So they, in the eyes of the people from the town, they were heroes. So they followed them, they came to the cave, and they found them the way Allah describes them. Inshallah, another night I explain that part, which is a beautiful part. They have a conversation. What should we do about this cave? Ibnu alayhim bunyanan. Let's build a structure, a bana, on this place so we can come and remember them. So they back and forth. Then they said, no, we'll make the bana, but we will take this bana as masjid. لَنَتَخِذَنَّ عَلَيْهِمْ مَسْجِدًا. So they were dead, and these people decided to make a masjid, and Quran praised them, did not denounce them. It refers to them as those people who have iman. So if their action making masjid, this is in Surah Al-Kahf. So we cannot say this is a hadith. This is in Surah, in ayah. So you cannot argue that if what they did, which is making a structure over the graves or over the cave of Kahf and treat it as masjid, was not approved. It was approved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran. So what else do you want? Dead people, the grave, building a structure over it and treating that structure as a masjid. The muscular structure of the face of these scholars was beginning to drop down. They were very frowning at the beginning, but when, as if it's the first time they're hearing this ayah from Quran, because there is no escape from it. The word masjid is already there, cannot take it out. And it is next to qabr, the grave of these people. So what are you going to do with the one that I told you? I said, which one? I said, the one? La Rasulullah, Allah says to him in Quran, La taqum, do not stand next to a qabr. I said, Bismillah. First of all, do you know that is in Surah Tawbah? I said, yes. I said, do you know that's Surah Tawbah and ayah number 82? I said, yes. Opened it. And I said, do you know Sha'n al-Nuzul or Asbab al-Nuzul? He said, no. I said, go to this tafsir and this tafsir and this tafsir. I mentioned 3 tafsirs of Quran, not from our school of thoughts, from their school of thoughts, that they celebrate them as mufassir. Bring them into the shelves and brought them. Said, look at the asbab or shan, the reason, the context for which this ayah has come. The full ayah is this: وَلَا تُسَلِّ عَلَىٰ أَحَدًا مِّنْهُمْ مَاتٍ أَبَدًا. Now, I want the audience, if you have not paid attention so far, I want to convert your attention to this part. If you take this part to your heart, you will always be reassured that when we go to the graves, we are doing exactly Sunnah Rasul and the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the beginning of the ayah, Allah is saying, do not pray over any of them when they are dead. Abadan. Never. Now, abadan sometimes means never. Sometimes means at the end of the time, which is also never. The opposite of the word abad is azal. Azal means the beginning of the time. Abad means the end of the time. Brother and sister, this word in this ayah certifies, proves that the Rasulullah cannot pray next to a grave that is described in this ayah. I'll come back to it very fast. وَلَا تُسَلِّ عَلَىٰ أَحَدًا مِّنْهُمْ مَاتَ أَبَدًا. So never pray next to the person who is dead. وَلَا تَقُمْ عَلَىٰ قَبْرِهِ. and do not stop or stand next to his grave. Why? This is the part they leave out. They take the first part of the ayah, but they don't talk about the rest of the same ayah. It's not the next ayah. It's the same ayah. The Quran has a word for these. These are the people who they take some of the Quran and they leave some of the Quran. Can't do that. You have to take the Quran in its entirety. So do not stand, do not pray next to the qabr of whom? Innahum, indeed these people that Allah is prohibiting Rasul to pray for, prohibiting Rasul to stand next to their grave, innahum kafaru billah wa rasulih. These are the people who came to know the truth about Allah and His Messenger, but they hide it. Kafar. Wamatu, they died while they dead as a kafir. Wahum fasiqun, and they are fasiqun. So what is this ayah is clearly saying? Rasulullah, do not pray and do not visit the grave of fasiqun, of those people who denied Allah and you, Rasulullah. Meaning what? Meaning mu'mineen are not included in this ayah. Meaning that Rasul used to, because he is rahmatan lil alameen, if he received an order from Allah, وَلَا تُسَلُّ عَلَىٰ أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ, that means Rasul up to this ayah coming, because he's rahmatan lil alameen, he would go and pray even to those people who did not believe in Allah and Rasul and they were fasiq. Fasiq is an additional modifier here. Kafir is one thing, but kafir fasiq is another thing. Fasiq is the one who will come and destroy repetitions of other in front of the other people. So Rasulullah must have had the habit of praying for and standing and praying next to graves of the people who died around him. And Allah is saying, do that, but except don't do that when they are fasiq and they are hiding the truth. Where does this ayah gives you the permission to destroy the graves of the daughter of Mustafa, the son of Mustafa? If Rasulullah, Sayyidun Nabiyyin, Khatamul Mursaleen, stands up and prays next to the grave of a mu'min, as he did for Uthman ibn Ma'dun, one of the best Sahaba of Rasulullah, one of the, not the one, the first Muhajir, the one who migrated from Mecca to Medina, the first of them who died. And Rasulullah did his kafan himself and went to his grave and kissed his face and prayed for him, and used to come and stand next to his grave and cry for him. Allahu Akbar. What is Sunnat Rasulullah? Where is it right now? And this is the one of the Sahaba that Rasulullah treats like this. Can you imagine how he would treat his own Ahl al-Bayt that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered him that these Ahl al-Bayt go say salam to them? What are they going to do with these ayah and the ayah before that? So that means وَلَا تُسَلِّ عَلَىٰ أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ مَاتَ أَبَدًا. I want to bring you back to abadan as I promised. That means do not go to the pray and do not pray next to the grave of these fasiqeen, but go and pray next to the mu'mineen, because that's what he was doing. And Allah eliminated fasiqeen, left the rest of them okay. So that means Rasulullah, up to the end of the time, abada. Remember azal and abad, the beginning and the end of the time? Rasulullah, up to the end of the time, Rasulullah would come and stand next to the grave of mu'mineen and pray for them. Because abad has not yet come. Abad means the end of the time. So when we say Rasulullah comes to the grave, this is the ayah behind it for mu'mineen. Abad means up to the end of the time, Rasulullah will come and stand next to the grave of mu'mineen and pray. Not fasiqeen, obviously. Nobody claims that. Rasulullah one day tells Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ya Ali, should I give you a news about the graves of you and your children? Amir al-Mu'mineen says, indeed, Rasulullah. فَيَعْمَرُونَ قُبُورُكُمْ وَيَكْفُرُونَ ذِيَارَتُهَا تَغَرُّبًا مِنْهُمْ إِلَى اللَّهِ. People will build the shrines over your graves, and a lot of people will come and do ziyarah, taqarruban minhum ilallah. They use these shrines to get close to Allah. وَمَبَدَّةً مِنْهُمْ لِرَسُولٍ. And they use this visiting shrines of you and your children for two things: to get close to Allah and pay their mawaddah to Rasul, as Quran has ordered us. La as'alakum ajra illa mawaddata. And ulaika ya Ali, and those people, ya Ali, al-makhsusun bi-shafa'ati. They are the people who are designated to receive my shafa'ah. Wal-waridun hawli, and they are the one that I await for them to enter next to the Hawd Kawthar in Jannah. Wahum zuwari ghadan fi Jannah, and they are the people who are allowed to come and visit me in heaven. Ya Ali, walakin hafalatu min al-nas, and there are some people, Ya Ali, يعيرون زوار قبوركم بزيارتكم. There are some group of people. Here is من الناس again, not من المؤمنين, not من المسلمين. This is, there are some group of people who make fun of the people who come and do ziyarah to your shrines. كما تعير, the way they did, make fun of the Zani and Zaniya. Yani they will equate Zawar Qubur Ali and Ali's children as the people who do zina. Allahu Akbar. This is Lisan Rasulullah. Ulaika sharrar. They are the shurur. They are the evil. La nalatahum. My shafa'a will not reach them. وَلَا يُرَدُّونَ حَوْضِي, and they will never come near my house. What they want to do with this hadith? We want to take our hands in anything that was touched by one of the infallibles. According to Quran, you and I, if we know for sure 100% a piece of wood was used by Fatima al-Zahra in her hand, or by Amir al-Mu'minin, or by Rasulullah. We would do anything to go and touch it. And this is the order of Quran. Where? In Surah Al-Baqarah. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Bani Israel when they were looking for, they asked the Nabi at that time, ask Allah to appoint a king for us. And Allah picked one person, Talut, to be their king, and they were dissatisfied, disappointed because he was poor and didn't have children, didn't have land, didn't have money. How can he become our king? And Allah said, a sign that is his chosen, I would return to you the tabut, the box that carried Musa on the river Nile when his mother put it on the river and was delivered to the house of Pharaoh. And in that tabut, there are some relics that belongs not just to Musa, to all Musa, not just to Harun, to all Harun. And they will, these relics in it, because they have things that belongs to all Harun and all Musa, whatever it's in it, those relics, those items, they will deliver sakina to you when you touch it. What do you want to do with this ayah? In ya'atikum, this is in Baqarah. So nobody can say that it is a rawaya, it's a hadith, it's not, it's weak. In ya'atikum at-tabut, when Allah gives you this box, fihi sakinatun, there is sakina in it, tranquility, peace, victory. Min rabbikum. So talk about wasila. This is a wasila. Allah is saying this box is the wasila for me delivering sakina to you. Sakina means tranquility, peace, prosperity. They're all the word that we can apply sakina to. All of the goodness from your Rabb is inside this box. And what is inside this box? Quran says, وَبَقِيَّةٌ مِمَّا تَرَكَ, and inside of it is the remaining left by all Musa wa all Harun. Not even Musa or Harun. All Musa and all Harun have some belonging left, but because they are Ahl Bayt Musa, because they are Ahl Bayt Harun, that means they are Ahl Bayt of Hujjatullah, of their belongings in this box delivers prosperity, shafa, and peace and tranquility to you. And this box, if you right now say this box belongs to, this is the tabut of Imam al-Hasan, they will na'uzubillah say, najis, oh, shirk. And Allah is saying this box that keeps ma taraka ala Harun and ala Musa, who's carrying them? Tahmiluhu al-malaika. The angels are carrying this box. And you want to call it najis? You want to call it shirk? Wake up and read the Quran and understand the Quran. Don't be mal'aba, don't be toys in the hand of those people who want to destroy Islam in the name of Islam. What do you want to do with these 3 verses of Quran I just read for you? One more ayah that sealed the deal, and that man left and never I saw him again, was this ayah from Surah Al-Mumtahan. What do you want to do with this ayah? That ayah was, Fasiqun and Kuffar don't go next to the qabr. And I didn't share with you the full detail of the context. Whose qabr was that? That Allah give the strict order, because this is qabrahi, Ayah is one qabr. Now let's go to see what Allah says about Jami' al-Qubur, all the graves of mu'mineen. What shall we do with that? Beautiful ayah. Surah Mumtahan. Ayah number 13. What are you going to do with this? Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu. So who's addressed here? Those who have iman. Mu'mineen. La tatawallu ghawman. Do not accept the vilayah or the friendship or the supervision or the authority, or do not accept them as your mawla, or do not be next to them as a friend. Who? Qawman, the people. غَضَبَ اللَّهَ عَلَيْهِمْ. They are مَغْزُوبٌ عَلَيْهِمْ. The people who are مَغْزُوبٌ عَلَيْهِمْ. And Quran here in this ayah describes one of the application of مَغْزُوبٌ عَلَيْهِمْ. What is that مَغْزُوبٌ عَلَيْهِمْ? قَدْ يَأْسُوا. They have no hope. They have lost by choice. They have lost their hope. They do not have any hope. Min al-akhirah. They do not have they do not have a hope for salvation about akhirah. And that is continue in this ayah with a key word. Those people who do not believe that they hope, they have any hope in akhirah. So let's think about this. Do you want to have hope for akhirah? Of course. Do you want to have hope for rahman shafa'ah? Of course. But if you think that there is no goodness in akhirah for you, would you have high hope for that? Obviously not. Our Mufassirin Quran, they refer to akhirah here is the time of our Imam. I'll put that aside. Just focus on this. If you have no hope for akhirah, okay, Allah shows the sign, a visible sign. Because you see two people coming toward you, they're both saying, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. Which one has a hope for akhirah and which one has no hope for akhirah? You can see this visible sign in this ayah. What do they do to show you that they don't have any hope for akhirah? Kama ya'isa al-kuffar. The same way that kuffar have no hope. Min ashab al-qubur. First of all, if you do not believe that qabr of mu'min, qabr of Rasulullah, qabr of Amir al-Mu'mineen, qabr of Imam, they cannot deliver hope for you to akhirah, Allah in this ayah labels you as kuffar. What do you want to do with this? كما يئس الكفار من أصحاب القبور. Those people who do not believe that they have hope for akhirah, قد يئسوا من الآخرة, their visible sign is كما يئس الكفار من أصحاب القبور. The same way that kuffar, they do not believe that they should have hope for the akhirah. What do you want to do with that? You destroy the grave of the lady who gave birth to Khatam al-Nabiyyin. And you burn that grave. And you dance on that grave, burning and hitting on your drum and celebrating. When you break the boundaries of respect of the house of Rasulullah is in your blood. You did that to Rasul's mother. You did the worst to Rasul's daughter. Destroying, burning is in your blood. because you are معيوسين يأس الكفار من أصحاب القبور. You have the habit to destroy the graves because you know the truth and you hide it. This rawaya is in your books, that the person came to Rasulullah and said, Ya Rasulullah, I have made another about something that if it happens, I will go and kiss the floor of Jannah as paying my respect. And what I wished for has come true. Now what should I do? Rasulullah said, why do you make the nether that you're not even sure? Are you sure you will go to Jannah? To make such a nether? What should I do, Rasulullah? I made the nether, let's say, want to get something and I got it. Now what should I do? Rasulullah said, go home, kiss the forehead of your father and the feet of your mother. And Rasulullah is equating kissing the floor of heaven as kissing the forehead of your father and the feet of your mother, if they are mu'min. Then the person says, Ya Rasulullah, I was a little child when both of them passed away. Here is the key word that they cannot escape. It's in their books. Rasulullah said, if they are dead, then go to the grave of your father, go to the grave of your mother, go kiss the head side of the grave of your father and the feet side of the grave of your mother. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. So that you are saying, when Rasulullah is giving a direct order for someone to fulfill his nadhr, his manna, his nadhr, that he made promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he will do to go and kiss the Jannah, the heaven's floor, which was a mistake to make that kind of promise. But Rasulullah is showing him an equal way to fulfill his nazar. What is that equal? Go kiss the graves of your parents. You know what he said? He said, Ya Rasulullah, you made it hard. He said, why? He said, because I was such a young boy, I don't even know where they are buried, if they have graves. Allahu Akbar. Rasulullah said, are you testing? Then Rasulullah said, here is what you are going to do. What is it? Go make 2 graves. And in your heart, make the niyyah. This grave on this side represents the grave of your father. And the other one resembles the grave of your mother, and perform the kisses on those graves as I told you. It is equal as if you had kissed your graves of original graves. Allahu Akbar. That means Rasulullah is giving and certifying to make the shabih of the graves as equal to the original grave. So don't blame us when you see that in our masajid we have small models of the graves of awliyaullah. We follow this ayah of Quran and that hadith of Rasulullah, which is in your books. You tell us, where do you follow the Sunnah of Rasul and verses of Quran? Destroying is in your blood. Amir al-Mu'mineen buried Fatima al-Zahra in the middle of the night. You all know that. Next morning, when these people, they found out that Fatima has been buried, they came with shovels and diggers and hammers, walking toward the Baqi, the same Baqi that they destroyed, the followers, the bloodline descendant destroyed it. Now, at that time, they came to saying, And at that time, they noticed Amir al-Mu'mineen has overnight made 40 equal size graves. So they cannot identify which grave. And one more thing they noticed. What did they notice? They noticed, unlike the previous days, that Ali is not in the mood of fighting, because Ali was ordered not to fight. But unlike those days, they see Ali's eyes is ready, and Zulfiqar is unleashed in his hand. And he said, Allah and Rasul, they ordered me to tolerate what you have so far done. They did not give me an order not to defend the grave of the daughter of Rasulullah. If you are satisfied with your life and you want to see your end, come forward. They all run away. They did what they did to Zahra because Zulfiqar was locked in. But when they saw Zulfiqar is unleashed in the hand of Yadullah, they ran away. But they had come to destroy the grave, take the body out, pray and rebury. Allahu Akbar. No respect for the grave is in your blood. You are destroying the Baqi that buries thousands of Sahaba of Rasulullah, wives of Rasulullah. You destroyed Jannatul Mu'alla in Mecca that buries Khadija, Abu Talib, Hamza in Uhud near Medina. You cannot help it when you go to Medina, especially if you go to Masjid al-Nabi at night. You see all the lights, you see all the fragrance, you see all the glorified building, which is still in their book to destroy. They just stopped because they were afraid of the reactions of the Muslims. As I told you at the beginning, when the news got to the countries and they all rised up against the destruction, they backed out and they did not want to go forward to destroy. But they wrote it that one day we will destroy Masjid al-Nabi. There should not be a masjid in there. And they are doing it in the name, they're expanding the parkings. They're doing it covertly right now. But inshallah, one day we will all rebuild the Baqi. You can't help it when you go there. You see, especially if you go there after sunset. If you face Masjid al-Nabi, your back is toward the Baqi. But if you turn toward the Baqi, your back is facing Masjid al-Nabi. And one is have lights, and people come and pay respect. And the other side is dark. Not even a candle is allowed to be lit. When you go closer to Baqi, you can't help by remembering that that is the grave of Imam Mujtaba. Ya Ahl Medina, you saw what they did to his body. Thousands of arrows in his tabut and in his body. Hussein and Zainab, they took those arrows one by one out of his body. You can't help it when you go to Baqi to remember that Hussein and Zainab, while they were taking out the arrow, they each one of them, for each arrow, they recited Inna Lillah wa Inna Alayhi Raji'un. You can't help it when you see Imam Sajjad graves is there. You can't help it to remember that he could not sleep on his back after Karbala. You can't help it to remember that that woman in Sham threw burning fires, charcoal over his ammam from the rooftops. And it burned his ammam and his head, and he could not defend himself because he was in shackle. You can't help it when you see the grave of Imam Baldwin there. And don't remember that he and Sakina, they were of the same age, tied up together. You can't help it when you see the grave of Imam Sadiq and you don't remember this is the same Imam that when that Mal'un came to his house and burned down the house and forced him in the middle of the night to come and visit the Khalifa. Imam told him, you are a young person, you are riding on the horse, you are going too fast for me, an old person, slow down. Allahu Akbar. These are the people that are buried there. You can't help it to remember al-Bani was coming to Baqi as the Rasulullah had ordered people before to make Shabih of the Qubur. She made Qubur of Abu al-Fath al-Abbas and her other sons and Abu Abdullah. And she would come and sit next to this Qubur that resembles her sons. And she would cry and recite for this Qubur. Even Yazid at the time did not say this is shirk. You, from where you bring this? I know from where. Khatam Allah ala qulubiha. Allah has sealed your hearts. You cannot see anything that belongs to Ahlul Bayt. May Allah bring and delivers continuous la'nah to the enemies of Ahlul Bayt. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this night bring His blessing to all Amwat, including the family of Zakir Ahlul Bayt, Sayyid Abid Balgrami, who has lost his wife. May Allah give him Sabr Jaleel and reward and blessing of Ahlul Bayt to the deceased. Ya Allah, بحق الزهراء. Ya Allah, بحق الزهراء. Ya Allah, بحق الزهراء. Make all of us live, die, and resurrect with Hubb al-Zahra and her children. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah Maulana. Assalamu alaikum, Hasnain, are you on?
Wa alaikum assalam, yes.
Okay, if you're ready, we can start. Bismillah.
Okay. توجه زيارة. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا أم المؤمنين يا خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا إمام حسن المجتبى. زارة وارثة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا وارث آدم صفوة الله، السلام عليك يا وارث نوح النبي الله. السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله. السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله. السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله. السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله. السلام عليك يا وارث علي أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام ولي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى. السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء. السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور. أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة. لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مدلهمات ثيابها. وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين. وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرضي الزكي الهادي المهدي. وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وعلام الهدى والعروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا. واشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله أني بكم مؤمن وبإيابكم موقن بشرائع ديني وخواتيم عملي. وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وأمري لأمركم متبع. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم. حضرت علي أكبر عليه السلام. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن نبي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد. السلام عليك أيها الشهيد. السلام عليك أيها المظلوم وابن المظلوم. لعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. زارت شهداء كربلاء عليه السلام. السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباء. السلام عليكم يا أصفياء الله وأوداء. السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الولي الناصح. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله. بأبي أنتم وأمي فاستبتم وطابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم وفزتم فوزا عظيما. فيا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم. زيارة حجرة عباس عليه السلام. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل العباس ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا ابن أول القوم إسلاما وأقدمهم إيمانا وأقومهم بدين الله وأحوطهم على الإسلام. أشهد لقد نصحت لله ولرسوله ولأخيك فنعم الأخ المواسي. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة استحلت منك المحارم وانتهكت حرمة الإسلام. فنعم الأخ الصابر المجاهد المحامي الناصر والأخ الدافع عن أخيه المجيب إلى طاعة ربه الراغب فيما زهد فيه غيره من الثواب الجزيل والثناء الجميل. والحقك الله بدرجة آبائك في جنات النعيم. السلام عليك يا مولاي علي بن الحسين زين العابدين. السلام عليك يا مولاي محمد بن علي الباقر. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا جعفر بن محمد الصادق. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا باب الحوائج يا موسى بن جعفر الكاظم. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا غريب الغرباء يا علي بن موسى الرضا واختك فاطمة مأسومة. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا محمد بن علي التقي الجواد. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا علي بن محمد الحاجي النقي. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا حسن بن علي العسكري. السلام عليك يا سيدنا يا مولانا يا صاحب العصر والزمان. سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان والشر الشيطان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
Jazakallah. Brothers and sisters, please recite a Surah Fatiha for all you marhumin and all the marhumin on the Jafriya Memorial Board. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. صراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم كله كفوا أحد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. تقبل الله جميعا. Inshallah, we'll see you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.